All the way in the back. You can hear? Okay, cool. Hello, my name is Graham. I'm the CTO of Mira. You might know me on Twitter, Strange Chances. I'm curious to know who here knows Mira.xyz. Maybe you've seen a link or something. Okay, cool, a fair amount. It's really important to know because I don't know whether to do like a super intro or to go into something more technical. So what is Mira.xyz? It's a Web3 publishing platform. It's become one of the main places where people make announcements in Web3. So we have examples like Optimism presenting next. They described their token on Mira. They did the announcements for that. We have a lot of pretty famous and well-known writers in the space, like Polinia. He talks a lot about L2s and Ethereum in general and blockchain technology. Chase Chapman. We also have investors like Chris Dixon and some other pretty well-known people blogging on Mira. So what makes it Web3? I said it's a Web3 publishing platform, and there are a few things. So for one, writers log in with their Ethereum accounts, and we view the Ethereum account as the primary identity of the internet, of the new web. That means we don't use login with email and password. So if you use something like Medium or Substack or Naver here, for example, you're going to log in with an email and password, and we just think that the Ethereum account is the new identity of the internet, and you're going to log in with that instead. And I think that that is something that's very surprising to a lot of people who are new to the space, who view the crypto wallet just as something that holds cryptocurrencies and maybe NFTs. But we're actually seeing all these non-financial use cases where people are logging in with their Ethereum account and they're using it for things like messaging, signing content, verification of identity, and that's actually going to be very important. The same private key that you used for doing financial transactions, you can actually use to verify content and social messages, and that's really important. So we're going to play this video here, and this is going to be, in lieu of giving a demo, it's just going to be a video of signing in to Mira, and I'm going to show you some of the basic features. So if we could play the video. Yeah. Okay, cool. This is the Mira XYZ homepage. Or I should say it was. As of this morning, we updated it, so rugged. But it basically looks like this. We have some projects that have written things on Mira. And if you go through, you'll see, ENS, for example, announcing their token, and a bunch of thought leadership pieces on Mira as well. And if we click into this, you can see, it looks like a blogging platform, and it's what you kind of typically would expect from something like a Medium. It has a nice title, etc. But then there are some other things as well that you'll be able to see that are really interesting. So for example, you can embed blocks, like Web3 blocks. For example, NFTs, you can just embed in. We've had people embed things like crowd funds, etc. If you click on the byline, the user identity of the post, you'll see it's an Ethereum address, and it links to Etherscan. And so you can start to see the interoperability between other platforms. And so that's sort of like the social network of Ethereum itself is based on the address as the primary identity, and that's something that is, just front and center of the authorship experience on Mira. Here you can see Brantley.eth. This person wrote this post with their ENS address linked, and they wrote about ENS, and they were a prominent figure in the ENS community. And that form of identity and authorship is a lot more trustworthy than something like an email and password login. If ENS were to do this post on Medium, how would you really know that it's ENS? Because you can't tie it to an address, and you can't verify signatures. And so you want something like this, where the content is very valuable, to look a little bit more like financial transactions than just a blog post that's hosted anywhere. Okay, so here I'm showing you signing in. You can sign in with Wallet Connect, MetaMask, Coinbase Wallet, and it's pretty easy, what you'd expect. Here, you're signing a message that is generating a token for you to basically use to authenticate on the website. And from here, you'll be able to this is my account. So these are some of the posts I've written, and you'll be able to like edit these or create new entries or update your settings. And every time you do any of these actions, you'll be signing the action with your private key. And so any change that you make on Mirror is tied to a verifiable signature that anyone can go and verify. Yes, this person did mean to post this from this account. They wanted to change their settings, and so on. And so we'll be able to decentralize all of that content because it's always verifiable. You don't have to trust our website. You don't have to trust our database. So, as I said, the Ethereum address can sign messages, and then all the content is signed with the address and is verifiable through the signature, and then gets stored forever on a decentralized file storage system. So we are using Arweave at the moment, and we put a link to the bottom of every post to an externally hosted copy of all of the content, including the signatures from the author. So why is this so important? It means that the posts will always be available, even if Mirror goes away. The authorship can always be proven from the account signatures. And so once something is published on Mirror, we don't have ownership over the content. And the writer can always rebuild their publication from that externally hosted content and the signatures, and would be able to validate that that indeed was what they meant to say and what they were posting at the time. This is just simply not true of Web 2 platforms. So if Twitter bans an account, or if it goes out of business, then the authors lose all of their data. And that's something that's happened quite a lot. It often happens in political contexts. For example, the president of the United States, the previous president, was banned from Twitter and then lost all of their data. And there was no way to rebuild his account. And that happens quite frequently with lesser known examples as well. And I think you should also consider cases where people will post from a Twitter account, but it's not really the person you think it is. And one example I have is the CEO of Twitter, Jeff Dorsey, once had his Twitter account hacked, and people posted things from his profile that he didn't actually say. It was somebody else who had hacked into his account. And so that sort of thing wouldn't happen if it was private key based. You might still have hacking, but the security guarantees are probably better. So in total, we don't believe that the platform should have ownership over the user's creative work. And here's another video we're going to play of the Optimism post. And I just want you to think a little bit about what I've been talking about in light of this post, which is so important. It was Optimism, which is one of the most important projects in the space, announcing their governance model and their token, introducing the Optimism Collective. And when you think of all these things, like being able to rebuild the publication, being able to have that content decentralized and stored forever, and have all of the provenance of the signatures available, that becomes so important when you think about these historical documents that are starting to be generated in the Web3 space. So we want to use these new technologies to do important things, and I think that this is one of these cases. So this is Optimism, you guys. Okay. So as I said, at the bottom of every entry, there's a link to a Arweave transaction, and we call this the nutrition label of the post. So it's going to basically show you where that file is stored on Arweave. And so here we have a link to the content, and anybody can go and view this. This is not a Mirror website. This is external, and all of the content here is hosted externally. So this is a big JSON file that has all of the content in Markdown, and also includes all of the authorship information that you would need to verify the authenticity of the post. So it has, signing key, signature, the type of signature that was used, and so on, as well as some information about on-chain data, which I'll touch on in a minute. Okay, this is the Mirror development blog. So this is where we just give updates about things that we're working on. Here, introducing subscriptions, etc. And I wanted to show you that we wrote a post about how to retrieve the posts directly from Arweave. So you can just very easily use the Arweave GraphQL endpoint to go and pull this data. which means that it's permissionless for people to go and build on top of this publishing platform, this protocol. They can just use JavaScript SDK. The code is very simple. They can go and pull all of their data. And so if at any point a person wants to grow out of the Mirror network and wants to go and build their own front end, they can do that very easily just with this SDK. Okay. So we also focus on making an excellent user experience, and we think that this just makes it easier for anyone to start publishing in Web3, even if they don't understand complicated topics like DeFi. Not everybody wants to be a trader or do speculative things in the space. So if we really want to have mainstream adoption, we can not only have things like NFTs and cryptocurrencies. On Mirror, all you need to do is have a wallet to log in with, and you can start publishing. So I think that this makes Mirror an excellent place for people to start having a voice in Web3. If you want to do things like governance and political things, you need to start having citizenship, and I think that that starts with people having a voice in Web3. And Mirror is a good place to start because it's free to use. All you need is a wallet to log in. And there's always going to be a clear way to exit from Mirror if you prefer something else, right? Okay. So I'm going to get into some other features. We're going to play another video. Yeah. Next time, live demo. This time, video. Okay. So I'm just going to show you for a second here about just making it a good user experience. We focus a lot on making it pretty similar to a Web 2 experience. So what does that mean? It just means that the things that people are used to doing for a publishing platform, they should be able to do on Mirror. It should be very easy to create an entry. It should look nice and user-friendly. You should be able to, drag and drop images to create the cover image. It should have good SEO. And all of those things, we focus on and we take very seriously. So we're not merely a protocol company that's highly focused on just the abstract technicals. We think about the product a lot and we invest a lot in design. So all these things that you would expect from an editor are there. But then we also have these extra things. So you saw, blocks, you can embed things like edition sales. So you can actually sell NFTs like from a blog post. You can create a story, and then at the end you would embed a crowdfund or something like that. So it blurs this line of funding and publishing. Here's an NFT embed, so you can do things like that too. If you have an NFT on Zora or Foundation, you can just embed it into your post, really user-friendly, and then people can interact with it and see some of the metadata about the NFT. Here I'm saving it as a draft, all functioning correctly. Yeah. Okay. Then I'll go back to my dashboard. And the first one was saved as a draft. I'll just clean it up and remove it. Nice and tidy. Okay. Cool. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Okay. As I alluded to, there's a lot more that you can do with a Web3 publishing platform than just publish content. So every post on Mirror is collectible as an NFT. We call these collectible entries. So for example, one author, Chase Chapman, minted a post of hers as a collectible NFT, and she set a limit of 333 editions that could be collected. And she had a bunch of fans in the community. And she probably didn't even realize this, but a lot of them wanted to collect her post as an NFT, and she raised $5,200 from the entry. She had this amazing quote in the piece. She said to co-own something is to have a connection with someone. And so while individual ownership is great, collective ownership is the social primitive of Web3. And as I said, 333 people co-own this piece of hers, and that sort of forms a community of collectors who are gathering around ideas and writers and they are funding work and building up a library of entries that are meaningful to them. And so this is really important because while giving funding to the writers that people love, they're also building identity in Web3 by collecting things that are meaningful to them, ideas that are meaningful to them, and then in the future, you'll always be able to go and see, what people have been interested in over time, and that, breeds a lot of trust and reputation and credibility for people in the space, which is always going to be important for things like governance and other things that we want to achieve in Web3. Here is the founder of Pool Together. He's just saying that the new collection feature on Mira is his favorite crypto thing because he loves ideas, he loves reading, and now he's able to give authors a couple of dollars that he would usually pay for a book. He can collect an entry on Mira and use it as like a bookmark, and he's supporting the work, and it's just something that's pretty cool to be able to do. It's sort of like tipping in the space. Here's some people on Twitter just like talking about their collections. So they're just saying, what's your library? Like, if I go over to your house and you have a bookshelf of books, I can understand more about you through what you like to read, what authors you like to read. And we don't have that on the internet. There's no way to really look at somebody's like bookshelf, maybe something like Goodreads. But NFTs could be a really interesting way to do that. And of course, NFTs exist out of a particular platform, and so you'll be able to see them on your wallet, like Rainbow Wallet or Coinbase Wallet or wherever you're using. By getting funded through NFTs, the writers can also keep their work public and open. So this is really important because online publications at the moment, they often have a subscription model where you have to pay to subscribe, and then only if you're a subscriber can you actually access the content. So that happens in academia, but it also happens in products like Substack. Oftentimes you really want to read a piece in the New York Times, and then you can't get to the third paragraph because there's a big box that says you need to pay and subscribe in order to see the content. And that's the state of the internet right now. But with NFTs, the work actually becomes more valuable to collectors the more that people read this. This is sort of the Mona Lisa hypothesis, where a work that everybody knows is more valuable than maybe an artistically better work that not many people know. So the more the meme spreads, the more value it often has. And so collectors actually want people to read the content, and so they pay for it and then make it open and accessible. And so we can have an internet where the information is free, but the creators still get funded and paid. Okay, so in this video, I just go and show how you mint NFTs as a blog post. And a surprising fact here is that it's still free to mint. So authors don't have to pay to make their entries collectible. All entries are just collectible by default. So we do that by basically having the creator sign all of the data, but they don't have to post it on chain until it gets collected. Here, I'm specifying some funding. So if I want to enable funding and make the collection paid, then I can do so and I can set a price. So here I'm setting $1 with a maximum supply of 2,000. It means that 2,000 people will be able to collect the post for $1 each, and I will make $2,000 or something on that blog post if people collect it and it sells out. I'm going to show some examples. So this is Chase Chapman's blog, which I was speaking about a little bit earlier, and I'm going to scroll down to the post where she sold 333 NFTs of the post. And so, just like a lot of other platforms where you would see the likes, how many likes a post has or how many claps, a like doesn't get you lunch. It doesn't get you paid as a writer, but collecting NFTs really can. And so here I've clicked on the list of collectors, and you can actually see these are real identities in Ethereum. You can go and see, this is David Phelps, he collected this piece. I want to go and see what other pieces are in his library. I'm so curious about what he's reading, and I can go and take a look at his wallet. And in future I'll see the art that he's collecting and the entries that he's reading and collecting, and that sort of just creates a much better community experience for creators and collectors and And we can form identities and networks and communities around ideas and artwork and things that are just more cultural on chain. So here's a list of Polinaya's, his library, which is so cool because he's a thought leader in the space. So I want to see what thoughts are influencing him and is causing him to think about the things that he's writing about. And in this post, Chase is really talking about exactly this sort of concept of ownership being contextual, relational, and social, and its ownership is actually connecting people into these communities and groups. An evolution in human connection. So as we create digital communities online, NFTs and on-chain records are going to be part of the ways that we do that. And they don't always have to be speculative, although they can be. But oftentimes they can just be free. It's just a token in your wallet to show that you care about something. This post was fully collected. She raised 3.3 ETH, which is, $5,400. It sold out. And people can actually go and collect this now on a secondary market. Because it's an NFT, it doesn't exist just in Mirror. It exists everywhere on Ethereum. And so you can see people are actually reselling the NFT of the post for a higher price. So there is some speculative aspect to this too, which can juice the funding. So, if an author is very well known, maybe they choose to make the NFT mintable for free, but then it goes for a much higher price later on the secondary market, and that can be something that's very interesting to their readers. Their readers might really appreciate that, and so it sort of incentivizes people to pay attention and read and take authors seriously, which is something that can bring efficiency to the writing market, if you will. Does anybody have any questions on this? Yeah.
So the writer did not pay the minting fee for minting their post, but then the users that select the post
Yeah.
have to pay for the fee or gas fee?
Yeah, okay, so I'll repeat the question on the mic. So the question is, who pays for this if the writer doesn't pay? And the answer is that the collector pays. So in a lot of situations, it's the collector that's incentivized to pay the gas fee because they want to own something. And a lot of the times, the writer, we just want to make it as easy as possible for them to get onto the platform and put content out. So we make it free for them to publish. We store the signature that can mint the NFT, and then we allow, it's almost like an off-chain order book, like we allow the collector to go and execute that against a contract and then mint it. And we'll decentralize all of the signatures so that you don't have to rely on Mirror, but it's a process to get there. I think a lot of writers will be the first person to mint or will want to mint their post immediately, and we want to move to that world as soon as we can, but it's still a little bit expensive. The other thing I should say is that all of these NFTs are minted on Optimism on an L2. So we were one of the first larger projects to migrate onto an L2. We picked Optimism because it was ready and the community was quite favorable towards Optimism. And so we moved onto that platform, and it's working really well, and it costs about $1 to collect an NFT on Optimism. So all of these posts are collectible for pretty cheap, and that's how it works. Okay, so I feel like this is... Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is subscriptions on Mirror. Web3 subscriptions. So, traditionally on like a Substack, you're going to subscribe with your email and password. It works really well. It's like a notification mechanism. The writer gets to see all of their subscribers and see all their emails. And in some of the platforms, they can download all of their emails and send other marketing messages to them. It's really important. On Mirror, we decided to have email notifications, but the real subscription happens through the wallet, through the Web3 wallet. You actually use an Ethereum account to subscribe. So that makes the community of subscribers Web3 enabled. What does that mean? Well, it allows the writers and projects to engage with their communities in new ways. when you're communicating with someone, not just through an email address, but through a wallet, there's so much more power that you have. For example, if you want to airdrop NFTs to your community, you can do that. And those NFTs maybe give them special access to content or to events. You could have an event like this where maybe I'm speaking and then I could airdrop NFTs that give free access to the talk to all of my subscribers. And so that's going to give an incentive for people to go and subscribe to writers that doesn't exist. And all of these subscribers that people will have, they have other things in the Web3 ecosystem that they're doing. They're collecting other posts, they're collecting other NFTs, and the writers can go and explore that and understand their audience better. They can do all kinds of new data analysis on the subscribers that they have that they would never be able to do with email addresses. So the wallet is just going to be a much, much more powerful way for subscribers to get access to content and interact with their creators. And then also for the creators, they're going to want to build up a base of subscribers that are wallets, a community of wallets rather than email addresses. And then, of course, up-and-coming products. So I'm sure you guys have heard of, peer-to-peer messaging products. Lit Protocol was one that was mentioned earlier. There are going to be so many products that rise up that do social communication for wallets. And again, having that base of wallet subscribers is going to be more powerful because you'll be able to use those tools with your subscribers, and you won't be able to do that with email addresses. So drop your email, drop your ENS. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Okay, so one one last video that's just like a demo of the subscriber interface, and then I'll be done. This is Erica's blog post, and so I hadn't subscribed yet to her before, so I'm going to use this as a demo. So I'm putting my email address in, and so I will get email notifications as a subscriber. I think that's important. And then I'm signing that with my wallet. And so this is saying my address is subscribing to Erica's address, and then I will get email notifications, and Erica will receive my wallet address as a subscriber in her dashboard. And then I can do that with other posts as well. And it's easier the second time because you've already signed for your email the first. Anyway. And then I'll go back to my dashboard, and I'll just quickly show you what it looks like as a creator at the moment. We'll add more things in the future to this to make this more powerful, but at the moment it's very simple, and it just you'll have your list of subscribers here, and you can go and they're real Ethereum addresses, so you can go and look at their profiles, see what they're writing, see what they're collecting, go to their Etherscan, check their balance, etc. So this is one of my subscribers, and I'm looking at his list of entries and collections. Okay, so that is the end of my talk, and I would encourage you to please check out Mira, write a Hello World post, and see how easy it is to get a voice in Web3, and then see if you can get some collectors. Once people collect, it goes on to other, it goes onto the graph protocol that you saw earlier. All those things get indexed. It's all on Ethereum, and it's all interoperable with other protocols as well. So really fun stuff. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.